Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my weekly Saturday night lives where we talk about everything related, connected to your twin flame journey. And I'm excited once again to be here. And I think it's been 4 years. I did my first live in 2021 November. Wait, is it? Yeah, 2021 November, so a long way. So I really thank MJ and the group for, getting me to do lives in the first place. So thank you, MJ. A big shout out to you. All right, so I'm just gonna check because I think 3 years ago I ended up going live on my own personal Facebook. So I always do a check just in case I'm not on there. All right, let me see. Volume can be here. Okay, volume is clear, all good. Right group. And here I am again with another lovely discourse this week. Many of you guys have been writing in to me, sharing a lot of updates in your journey, especially because this week has been very intense, and the upcoming week is going to be interesting with the 8-8 portal and everything. So let me get everyone in. All right, perfect. All right, how have you all been, and how have you guys been feeling this week with regards to everything? The Lionsgate portal, the upcoming Lionsgate portal, Mercury retrograde, Neptune retrograde, Saturn retrograde, Saturn retrograde. So many retrogrades, really. It's like a five-pointed star. Very interesting. So I actually found this. So, so right now we have got 5 planets in retrograde, and so our Merkaba, everything is very active. So, Saturn is about responsibility. So you might have been noticing that you are having a lot of conflicting feelings, visions about your divine masculine. So I will call this period the sacred purging. So that's what's going on energetically. That's why one moment you're like, I'm done with this journey. Another moment you're like, you know what, I am still in love with my DM, but I will choose myself. And then another moment you're like, you know what, I'm dropping it all because I just want to be in his arms. Everything that you're going through is part of the sacred purging. Every divine feminine is going out there, especially if you are in the pre-union stage. And you know what is the good news? After all these settles, you will get the clearest form of clarity that you have been seeking in years. So that's why this is an exciting period. So as you guys know how my life works, I will talk about the energies, and then I will check in with you all for a while, and then we will delve right into the discourse, and then we would do live channeling based on your requests. So many of you, quite a number of you guys have sent me your requests, so I'll do it at the end. Oops. All right. So let me look at the comments and see what you guys been. Karen says, good day, Vash. And yes, thank you for all you do. Oh, Karen, thank you for being here. So as I was saying, the energies are very interesting, and this 8-8 Lionsgate portal, and I've got a healing for that, so do check out my website. I do it on the day itself, so it gets booked really fast, so do book quickly. I've got limited spots only, so do check that out. And for those of you guys who are new here to this channel and want to work with me one-on-one, you can book your special first time psychic guidance session on my website with the link provided. All right, and as I was saying, many of you guys have been writing to me telling me that you guys have been feeling a lot of things this season. You know what, you are in perfect alignment as it is. Remember, the most important thing is compassion to yourself and not being too carried away by structure or by anything. It's important to trust yourself and to trust God. Always, always, always power to you, not power to others. So never give your power away. And I will always say it each and every discourse, every video, because only then can you truly, 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 truly figure this out. So the most important thing is you can be carried away by a lot there is online, in your mind, everything. But true twin flame union occurs when you transcend your mind. And that's why I always say, I'll tell my clients, you know, just get your mind to go on a holiday for a few weeks, and then the way you live, you'll realize, hey, this is how I should be living. So in other words, remember, your mind is not your master, your mind is your assistant. And the moment you start treating your mind like an assistant, your whole life will change. Even what you're feeling about the journey, what you're feeling about your divine masculine, everything will change. So it's so important to note that the twin flame journey, everybody's journey is very, very unique. Each and every one of us have very, very unique journeys. Of course, there can be some similarities in terms of certain patterns, which we are discussing about every week and all the other videos I share. But the reality is, as monadic twin flames, our journey is very, very unique because there is no limitations to our missions, our experiences, our soul expressions. So the Leela that we are going to create is the question. So with that, if you don't have any questions, I'll dive right into the discourse. I just want to say that the Lionsgate portal this year is going to be very intense, especially with all the retrogrades coming in, and also because it's falling in the retrograde season. One thing is that you will notice amplified feelings, emotions all coming in, and do not get too carried away by them, because the true transcendence begins when you start having a more macro perspective on things. It's good to individuate certain aspects at times, but the journey is going back to yourself, and that's when union happens. And remember, trust God, always God. Have your own relationship with your higher self, with God, cosmic consciousness, however you may want to call it. But it's so important to have that relationship so that no matter what happens, you can fall back on yourself. So this is what Saturn retrograde is actually teaching us, to find our own inner truth in our journey. And the beautiful alignment of Neptune retrograde and Uranus in Gemini, I just have to say, we are having the most feasible period for any kind of expression journey with your divine masculine, because this is why the third energy is so active between ourselves and our divine masculine, because it is such a high period right now. That's why you are feeling everything. And often there's a lot of misconstruction in this. You're often there's a misconstruction that you misconstrue things as, you're not allowed to feel this, you're not allowed to feel that. You are allowed to feel everything. Only when everything comes out of you, true healing begins. So instead of, I should always be waiting, Jane, or I should always be I should just wait for him to return, or I have to do this, I have to do that. Who is telling you to do this and to do that? The important thing is to find your own truth. That's what this journey is about. And that's why this journey is not for the faint-hearted either. And that's why every single video I do, I always encourage you guys to find your own truth, wisdom. And that's how my divine masculine came back to me as well. When you see, it's not only detachment or surrender, or it was beyond all of that. I had gone through all the purge, I had gone through everything. I was at a state whereby I was truly in alignment with my divine purpose on all areas of my life, including my career, including what I'm doing for you guys, everything. And that's when he returned without drama, without, because I'm a category 2 divine feminine. So I totally embodied my still self, and he came back. He just came back, and it, even though a lot of time had passed, it didn't feel like a lot of time had passed. It just felt peaceful. There was no talking about the past. There was no dwelling. There was no, because I, with the grace of God, had transcended those stages. But I did prior pre-union stages. It was madness, and that's what I hope to teach you guys, because many of you guys, my clients, are in the pre-union stage. And I really hope my own experience and my wisdom, again, all grace to God, when I channel, I'm channeling my own higher self. I connect directly to cosmic consciousness. So the wisdom that I impart in these videos are my own opinions. So if they resonate, they resonate. And if they don't, it's okay. All right. With that, I'm going to delve right in. So before we start, the reason why I chose this topic is because of one thing. I'm not totally dismissing the fact that monadic twin flame love isn't romantic. But what I'm trying to remind you guys through this discourse is that monadic twin flame love it's not only romantic, it's everything, because that is the point of your merge and your split in the 13th dimension, which I always talk about, the cosmic egg, and that's where you're split. And the third energy, the spiritual intelligence that flows around it. So that's why I've titled today's discourse as How the Divine Feminine Awakens Through Polarity Collapse and Not Pursuit. So pursuit versus polarity collapse, you see. The innate urge to pursue comes from many wounds. Often it can even go back to your childhood wounds, your father wounds, your mother wounds. Modern day 21st century, a lot of reasons, and this is based on working with a lot of my clients and from my own experience as a lawyer and as a psychic. And as a guide for you guys, I can say one thing. This is my opinion on it. The urge for us divine feminines to pursue, to chase, does not come because we lack something. It does not come because we are crazy. And it does not come because we have no other choice but to chase our divine masculine. Remember, you are not the chaser as the divine feminine. You are actually the conduit. The conduit. You are the conduit, right? So this discourse is basically hoping to inspire you to redefine divine feminine power in twin flame separation. So I'm going to add in this part as well and emphasize on it, because our role is like the axis holder and not the pursuer, not because of all the 3D stuff out there. My videos are not about the 3D stuff. My videos tend to be unique because I think about it a lot of time. Like I said, my mind is my assistant, right? So the information that I get from my higher self, I frame it for you guys in this context. So that's why today's topic today's discourse. In today's discourse, we're going to dismantle one of the most damaging misconceptions in the twin flame journey, the idea that the divine feminine must prove her love, wait in passive agony, or do the work to win him back. And you know what? This is not your soul's truth. You are not the chaser. You are not. You are the conduit, the axis of return, the living still point around which his soul recalibrates. So this isn't about ego. It's about sacred mechanics. And once you understand how your field actually works energetically, spiritually, cosmically, you will never again mistake pursuit for power. You see, sometimes you have to understand words can mean a lot of things. Jumping to conclusions or jumping to getting triggered. This is your mind reacting. Soul response is when you listen, you think carefully, your mind as your assistant, and then you form your own opinion on something which is in alignment with sacred wisdom. So that's why the chaser illusion, it's often a misunderstood feminine archetype. So before I delve right into the polarities, I want to talk a little bit about chasing. So why is it, why is there this whole big idea of chasing? Why is it even a thing in twin flame dynamics? Of course, in 3D love, it's always the other way around, right? The man chases the women. But why is it the other way around in the twin flame journey? Firstly, you need to understand the chaser-runner dynamic often tend to apply more to the split soul twin flame category. That's one thing. The chaser-runner dynamic is not a universal truth. It's actually a distorted reflection of karmic loops. So in karmic cycles, chasing is often rooted in abandonment wounds, fear of loss, and trauma bonding. But in monadic twin flame journeys, true divine union blueprints, there is no need for pursuit because your fields are already entangled through divine intelligence, which is the third energy. However, having said that, you have to go through all this to discover this divine intelligence through yourself. So you can't really skip the parts. But again, it's not structured. Sometimes people try to force themselves into a twin flame label. It doesn't work that way. Let me be very clear about that. Like I said, I'm a lawyer as well, and I do divorce cases too. So there are many kinds of relationships out there. So that's why, I always encourage you guys to get a twin flame check. You can do it via my website. You can book a session. And how I do twin flame checks is I access your Akashic records with your permission. And I also do a multi-dimensional check. And because I'm a clairvoyant, I also go and see at which point you guys are split. So that's how I'm able to identify your connection. So if you guys are new here, you can book the first time session, and I will be able to discuss whether you are in a twin flame relationship or not in the first place. So remember, when you chase, you're not anchoring the relationship. You are destabilizing your own axis. Chasing pulls you out of your own center, collapsing your field into external longing. So this signals to the universe that your counterpart, that you're no longer holding coherence, and this delays reunion. Another big thing, chasing equates to field leakage. You're giving away your power to the illusion that your divine masculine completes you. So that is the reason why you need to see it this way. And you may ask me these questions. So, if chasing isn't the way, what is the sacred function of our role as a divine feminine? Remember, we owe the axis, the central frequency of truth, coherence, remembrance. So, the axis is not passive, it's actually magnetic. It draws the masculine not through words or effort, but through energetic stability. So, the next time you're texting your divine masculine or you're popping up where he is, do an energy check on yourself. See what frequency are you vibrating on, because when you send a message with the highest vibration, often my own experience, my client's experience, he will reply back. But when you are nervous, panicking, scared, afraid, will he reply, will he not reply, you know what, you're in the lowest, you're embodying a very low vibration, often one density frequency, two first, second, third dimensional frequencies. And that's when he goes more into running and hiding or disappearing. So it's always in the energies, and this is something I teach all my clients. It's always in the energies. If you want to send something, like sometimes you'll ask, can I send him happy birthday? Send it with no expectation. Send it from the highest vibration, from the soul level. So that's what I mean by energetic stability and calm. So that's why you got to redefine your feminine strength, that being calm, being still is a magnetic force. So your question may be, but isn't waiting still weakness? Isn't it powerlessness? We are going beyond power, and this whole pursuit for power comes from your childhood trauma of how you were treated as a child, be it in school, if you're being bullied by your school teacher, your parents, your that's how the whole power game starts to emerge. Remember, another thing I want to be very clear: waiting is not the same as stillness, calmness. And stillness is not the same as passivity as well, passiveness as well. Remember, what we're looking for is a state of stillness. Stillness is magnetic. Stillness is a form of divine, it's a kind of divine pressure. It holds a vibrational frequency that creates tension in the field until the divine masculine reorganizes. So when you hold your field, you are conducting cosmic electricity. You become a tuning fork. So that's why, as the divine feminine, we do not fight for our union. Of course, the whole concept that, oh, time is running out, oh no, all that fear that we are limited. No, actually, if you look at the world right now, medical technology, quantum healing, everything as it is it's at its peak. We have like stem cells coming in, literally, that there's so much medical technology where our lifespans are naturally going to increase. So time becomes irrelevant when we don't have an end date. Right now, it's because we are so programmed to believe, hey, this is, and it's true, the lifespan is such this way. But you need to remove all of this, because in the journey, it's not about rushing to be in union with your divine masculine. It's not about trying to be in union because you have more time. It doesn't work that way. What if you have more time but you're arguing all the time, or you're fighting all the time, or you're not even understanding each other because you're out of alignment? So what does that serve? Being in separate, and that's why all these short circuit unions don't last, and twin flames do experience this as well. You go through a lot of mini unions, but then because the energies don't stabilize, you end up separating again. So you need to remove time for these stuff out of your thinking frame. I'll say this. That brings us to our discourse today, right? Because when you stop chasing, you truly come home to yourself. You're not feeding his avoidance anymore. You're not holding the lower frequency loop open. Your silence begins to echo louder than your love letters ever could. So remember, energetic neutrality is what is the state of becoming. Energetic neutrality becomes the gravitational field for your divine masculine's return. So that is the reason why you have to see it this way. And I've designed today's teaching in a way where monadic twin flame union begins with rupture and how it purifies our goddess field through sacred neutrality. So remember this. All right. Tonight, we are diving into one of the most misunderstood and most important truths about the twin flame journey, that twin flame love is not romantic. And as the divine feminine, your awakening often begins not through harmony but through collapse. And I've said this in many of my videos. But today's discourse, this is going to be a real one. So get comfortable, drop into your body and open your heart, not just what you want to hear, but what your soul came here to remember. And let's get honest, all right? Most people are still chasing the idea that twin flame union is supposed to feel like a movie. That when you meet your divine masculine, everything falls into place. Well, that's often a soulmate relationship. But for those walking the monadic twin flame path, the path of highest soul frequency, union doesn't begin with bliss. It begins with rupture, with separation, with breaking open what feels like death. Because in many ways it is. And it's death of the illusion. And it's the collapse of every belief system you were taught about love, worth, and identity. And that's the reason why I want to emphasize on this. The reason why monadic twin flame love is not romantic but it's radical, because it doesn't begin with flowers or harmony. It begins with shattering. The union doesn't conform to the cultural or spiritual expectation of what love is supposed to look like. In fact, monadic twin flame love begins with what feels like betrayal, abandonment, egoic annihilation, because it was never meant to fulfill the lower archetype of romance. So romance in its distorted form is transactional. I give you love, you validate me. Monadic twin flame love is transmutational. I mirror your soul back to you so fully you collapse into your higher self. So remember, it's not in the burn. It's not the balm, it is the burn. So what I mean by that is, this state will happen whether you like it or not. And if you are trying to skip this stage, you're probably not on a twin flame relationship. It's other kinds of relationships which I'm not here to talk about. And what I wanted to actually say before I delve further is, I really want to be blunt here, and I apologize for that. All right, like sometimes I really got to put my lawyer hat in, and I got to be very straightforward and blunt, because again, you know, I don't really want you guys to feel like this is this and this is that. So let's be very blunt and let's be at the same time clear. Most twin flame teachings today are still swimming in the dream of romance, waiting for the divine masculine to return with roses, right words, and full understanding. Right words, full understanding, roses. This is straight out of a romantic movie. It's not reality. But for those of us walking the monadic twin flame path, the highest soul frequency of union Like I said, I'll keep emphasizing it. It does not begin with fairy tale resolution. It begins with rupture, a soul quake, an event that is so strong that you're like, why was I even born? That's why I'm calling it the soul quake. An event that forces the collapse of everything false. So that's why it's about finding your inner wisdom, your inner truth. So not just in the connection, but in you, in your life. So remember that the first separation, the first heartbreak you had wasn't a betrayal. It was a coded initiation. It was your soul dragging you out of the fantasy and into Alice in the Wonderland kind of situation, the rabbit hole. That's why I love rabbits, Like there's something about the rabbit that is very, very spiritual. From the rabbit trying to tip its hat to the rabbit trying to be meticulous, trying to be savvy, trying to bring in Alice into the Wonderland. I would say the rabbit is a spiritual animal, and if you guys agree with me, comment rabbit on the comments. But the beautiful thing is, like the rabbit, our divine masculine too can be very meticulous, can be very oriented, very structured, because that is what they signed up for. And we are like Alice, totally swimming the ocean without direction. So that's why our divine masculines tend to be, for example, in the 3D world, financially savvy. They got their things together. They're workaholics. They tend to spend a lot of time structuring their life, And if you really go back to old conversations, excuse me, of what your divine masculine has said, this is how I got into union, because after the ego phase, after the waiting Jane phase left, and after that whole point where I was gone beyond surrendering, I was actually listening, meaning in my own memory recall. I was like thinking about our conversations, and I realized everything he had said was not meant to hurt me or trigger me or make me feel bad. In fact, he was saying a lot of things that was helping me build my life. So that's why I would always say our divine masculine is our number one teacher. Everything he says has got double, triple, multiple meanings. So if you have the time, actually go back and think about the conversations you've had with your divine masculine. The conversations that may have not made sense then but would make sense now. So in a way, the divine masculine has like crafted all of these prompts for us, and it's like coded in alignment with our awakening. Very beautiful. So that's why, like how like Alice goes into Wonderland. It is for the divine feminine, it's our soul dragging us out of the fantasy and truly into the true reality. So that's why monadic love isn't romantic. It's not about finding love. Like I said, it's about becoming the frequency itself, the absence of need, agenda, or projection. Because as the divine feminine, the journey begins not with a proposal but with a collapse. And whether we like it or not, that is the reality of it. It's about dismantling every identity formed around being loved, seen, chosen, or desired. It is the soul's intervention to override romantic programming and catalyze energetic individuation, so that you, as the divine feminine, will return to your blueprint as a goddess, not just some regular partner. If that is what you want, you wouldn't be in the twin flame relationship at all. And I'm not saying normal relationships are bad. Again, the soul chooses that experience. So there is no judgment in any relationship. So let me be very clear in that. So that's why this teaching is not for the seeker of fantasy, it is for the one whose illusions have already shattered and who suspects deeply that shattering was the initiation all along. So you hit bingo if you get this. That's the reason why monadic union, monadic twin flame union, again and again I'll say it, begins with rupture, not reunion. And that's why a lot of teachings out there begin with recognition and end with reunion. But in monadic twin flame journey, it's encoded to begin with a soul engineered rupture, the moment when what seemed like divine love becomes unbearable absence, rejection, or disconnection. Oops, I just want to read the comments for a while. Kayla says, Soul Quake is good. I agree, our conversations help me more than any other person. Yes, they do. So, as I was saying, the moment when everything seemed like divine love becomes unbearable absence, rejection, or disconnection, this is when your journey truly begins. The rupture serves a precise function. It severs the false belief that love should come to rescue the feminine. Instead, it initiates you into remembering that you are the rescuer of your own field. And the rupture reveals three things. Where you still confuse attention with devotion, where you seek confirmation through your masculine's gaze, admiration, where your self-image is dependent on being the one. Collapse all of that. It really doesn't matter. Remember, it's not a punishment. It's totally unbecoming. And it's the only way to become the goddess you're meant to be. That's the reason why monadic twin flame love is not here to fulfill romantic expectations at all. This is not the kind of love, like I said, like I'll say over and over again, it's about courtship, recognition, desire, mutuality, partnership, in linear progression. Let me be very clear, linear progression. That is actually the third dimensional archetype, rooted in emotional dependency and identity projection, like most relationships out there. But remember, monadic twin flame love is disruptive. It activates you at the blueprint level, not the ego level. It is not calibrated to your fantasies. It is calibrated to your highest soul architecture. And that includes purification. So this is when, as the divine feminine, we enter the connection. See, often, as the divine feminine, you enter the twin flame connection with subconscious programming, and that's when it leads to polarity collapse, because polarity collapse is a sacred design, not failure. So the disappearance, avoidance, or that karmic detouring category 1 divine masculine is not a mistake. It's actually a polarity recalibration event. In monadic dynamics, the feminine often enters with an activated yearning frequency. So guys, it's not wrong to have this activated yearning frequency, which is highly magnetized, yet still entangled. So even though this yearning is highly magnetized, it is still entangled with need, performance, and spiritual fantasy. And this is what happens. And this teaching is to understand that it happens. And our divine masculine, in contrast, often withdraws or differs, not because he's incapable of love. even though that's how he looks like, that is incapable of love, totally, but because he's subconsciously repelled by energetic dependency. So when you are seeking him, when you are like wanting to be in his presence, that is energetic dependency. So this triggers the collapse of external polarity, where you can no longer rely on him as a source of stability, affection, or meaning. And it's only through this collapse that you turn inward. If not, there's no way, you're going to be stuck. And remember, turning inward not as an escape but as a reclamation. So this is where you discover your own sacred frequency, your sovereign, let's say, eroticism, your internal union architecture. So the goddess is not born in partnership. The goddess is born when the polarity, as the divine feminine goddess, you chase collapses. And this is when you become a generator instead. That's the reason why, as the divine feminine, we do not awaken through the masculine's pursuit. We awaken through polarity collapse, and the process by which all external validation fall away, forcing you to become the source of your own frequency. That's why in many monadic twin flame journeys, this looks like, as you all know, our beloved divine masculine retreating. In some cases, some kind of a karmic, it could be a friend, it could be a partner, someone appearing, and the feminine feeling unseen, unchosen, erased. But this is not disempowerment. Again and again and again, I'll say this. This is activation. The polarity collapse is not a punishment, it is precision. It collapses the illusion that someone else must choose you for you to feel divine. No, you were never meant to be pursued. As divine feminines, we are meant to be embodied. That's why many divine feminines, fellow divine feminines, always ask me this. How could he run away when it was finally real? He always runs away when it feels finally real. How could we touch so deeply only for him to walk away? It is what it is. And why did it feel like union and then turn into rejection? It needs to build up. If not, you wouldn't even remember you are a divine feminine. So the answer is polarity collapse. Monadic twin flame union is not empowered. It's not powered by emotional intensity. It is powered by energetic coherence. I'll keep saying it over and over and over again. Energetic coherence. So when our divine feminine frequency begins rising faster than our masculines, it destabilizes his internal structure. So he feels your truth, he feels your purity, he feels your love. I'm not denying that. He feels all of that. My divine masculine felt all of that, and he has said it through his own words, through his own experience. But the problem is, at that point, he wasn't able to hold it yet. So the closer we go, we come, the closer we come, the more unstable our divine masculine's illusion becomes. So he collapses not because you are wrong, but because he's not ready to stop being who he isn't. So this collapse is designed by both you, the divine feminine, and your divine masculine, to purify the false polarity so that we will be able to meet again in a higher scenario, in a higher situation. So you may ask, what catalyzes the awakening of the divine feminine in a monadic twin flame situation? Of course, it's not pursuit, but absence. So 3D in third dimensional dynamics, pursuit is confirmation. If he chases me, I matter. If he chooses me, I'm sacred. That is 3D connections, other categories. But in monadic twin flame union, monadic twin flame union flips this programming, because the goddess, as the goddess, we don't awaken through being pursued. We awaken through being stripped of identity, expectation, and externalized power. This is the polarity collapse. This is the polar collapse. It is the precise soul engineered implosion of the following polarities: attachment to his gaze, self-source gaze, emotional enmeshment, and energetic autonomy, seeking union versus becoming union. Can you see that? Attachment to his gaze, but self-source gaze. Emotional enmeshment versus energetic autonomy. Seeking union versus becoming union. So what collapses is not love. It is the need for the love to show up a certain way. So that's why this can be considered an advanced initiatory phase that many divine feminines misinterpret as abandonment. In truth, our divine masculine is handing us back our polarity by vacating the space where you outsourced your identity. And it's very true. It is very true with my own experience. So this is when you begin to feel this collapse, when your nervous system breaks down from trying to make it work. You stop receiving signs, dreams, or communication. I will definitely do a video on this. In fact, I've already been thinking about it a couple of days, why you stop dreaming about him, final period. And this started happening to me as well. I stopped dreaming about my DM. Totally. Okay, anyway. You stop receiving signs, dreams, or communication. Even your spiritual practices may feel empty. So remember, this is not a block, it is a threshold. It is the invitation to stop reacting to that wounded female you are, and to rise into the neutral field. So the goddess is not born through being chosen, like 3D connections. We are born when we choose our field over fantasy. That's why it's so important to remember that the chaser is not who you are. So let me be very, very, very clear. Chasing is not divine feminine energy. It's the karmic inversion of it. When the feminine chases, it's usually the inner child or wounded maiden seeking validation, not the goddess, not the empress, and definitely not the divine feminine you are. And this is where the real awakening begins. At some point, as the divine feminine, you will stop crying over why he didn't choose you, and you will start asking why you keep betraying yourself to be chosen. The collapse of the chaser identity is the true death of the ego. It is the end of seduction, the end of spiritual manipulation, and the end of energetic over functioning. Should I pop up where he is? Should I see him one last time? Can I write to him one last time when he has clearly blocked you? Maybe not literally, or maybe literally, who knows, depending on your journey. But when he's clearly energetically dismissing you, or when he gives you a small re-entry, you come in and you take over, you are only widening the gap. So you do not magnetize union by trying harder. You magnetize union by collapsing the need for it to happen on your timeline, on your power, on your whatever distorted reality programming. Because that's when your energy becomes clean, and that's when your divine masculine begins to feel the absence of your distortion and starts missing the purity of your field. So remember, the sacred rupture is a calibration tool. The rupture is not the end of the union, it is the beginning of energetic refinement. Monadic love is wired for sacred calibration, not comfort. So this is not about being comfortable. And as the divine feminine as the divine feminine, we are often calibrated through the silence of our divine masculine, whether we like it or not. That blocking, that ignoring, that silence, that time passing, it needs to happen. The friction of karmic overlays, especially for category 1 twin flames, and the inner death of romantic projections. Remember, each rupture strips away distortion. I need to be seen to be sacred. If he leaves, it means I'm not enough. Love should be mutual to be real. All right? What I mean by this is all these distortions are stripped away because monadic twin flame love doesn't require permission or reciprocity. It is self-existing. You are divine husband and wife. What more do you need? It's self-existing, and the rupture clears out every illusion that stands between you and that truth. And that's why the role of sacred neutrality in our divine feminine ascension is very, very important. Sacred neutrality is the vibrational posture as the divine feminine. The vibrational posture the divine feminine must eventually enter, not because you are indifferent, but because you no longer need outcome to hold presence. So this is not emotional suppression. It is energetic calibration. In this space, you can love without clinging, without being a love bomber, without holding on so tightly to him. Love without clinging, grief without collapsing, and desiring without projection. So in sacred neutrality, I'll try to do another discourse deeper on this. You no longer chase alignment, you embody it. You no longer demand union, you become the field of union. You no longer perform sacredness. You are sacred with or without validation. So this is what the rupture was always guiding you towards. Sorry guys, I'm just adjusting the aircon. It's getting heated up here, huh? That's what I mean by coherence without condition, love without longing, and power without pursuit. That's the reason why, you know, the sacred rupture is a calibration tool, as I had said, and the rupture in monadic union is not a side effect. It's the primary feature of the soul contract. Why? Because rupture reveals where you are still negotiating your word through external reference points. So examples, if he doesn't talk to me, I will spiral. I don't know. If he is with someone else, I collapse into rage or grief. If he blocks me, I feel erased. And it is true. You do feel erased. You do feel, but there's nothing you can do about it. In either of the examples that I gave you, there is nothing. And remember, none of this is wrong. It's a diagnosis. It shows you what part of your system is still wired to emotional dependency. The rupture acts as a mirror and not a scalpel. It both reflects your unconscious patterns and severs them. So energetically, it performs several critical functions. Number one, it breaks identity overlays. You no longer get to perform the role of divine lover. You're forced to embody it without witnesses. Number two, discharges karmic debt. Ancient cords of abandonment, sacrifice, martyrdom must be burned out. Number three, activate sacred detachment. You're no longer available to be emotionally blackmailed by your own nervous system. This is recalibration of your entire electromagnetic field, and it often manifests as, sometimes you might suddenly have dreams like you're drowning or you're dying, or big tsunami comes in, a lot of fatigue, temporary loss of meaning. So this is not depression, it is goddess alchemy. So sacred neutrality is what this is all about. After the collapse, something new rises. Sacred neutrality. This is the goddess self. Sacred neutrality is not disinterest, coldness, or detachment. It is the state of where the feminine holds union energy without attachment to outcome. So this is not resignation, it is recognition. In this state, as the divine feminine, you become a field, not a seeker, a magnet, not a chaser, a stabilizer, not a reactor. This is where the true goddess field is born, where you no longer perform for love or grieve the illusion or negotiate your frequency. You become a frequency match for sacred union with yourself. That's the reason why heartbreak in a twin flame situation becomes a spiritual event. Heartbreak is not just emotional pain, it is a monadic twin flame threshold. In monadic twin flame paths, heartbreak is often the first soul initiator that opens the feminine's crystalline grid, forcing you to self-source, to rise, and to activate your soul memory beyond romantic dependency. So what feels like a loss of love is often the rewiring of what love even is. It is no longer about being wanted. It's about being seen without collapsing. It's no longer about being chosen. It's about choosing yourself so deeply that only soul matching frequencies survive your field. So let me be clear here again. This is not emotional abandonment. It is emotional refinement. And only those willing to pass through this fire will experience union in its true form, not as fantasy, but as frequency matching embodiment. I'm going to see if there are any comments or questions here. Oh, Amy says, great topic. Madonna says, it's so crazy. I've completely disconnected from my twin flame. I don't even dream about him anymore. I just feel centered and concentrate on my own life. Yes, I felt all you're saying. If you have time. All right. Oh, channelings are towards the end, Madonna. So, yes. So I'll be taking requests after the teaching. All right. So as I was saying, why the divine masculine must retreat for your field to activate. So the masculine's withdrawal is the final offering he gives before he can consciously return. And in monadic twin flame templates, he retreats not because he doesn't care, but because his presence would have interfered with her recalibration. As long as you look to him to regulate your nervous system, validate your identity, or mirror your worth, union would not occur. And it would have been a trauma bond wearing sacred clothing. That's exactly how it would have been. So that's the reason why he exits. Sometimes, even extremely, he may tell you, I never ever want to talk to you again, or literally running away from you, or cutting you off in public, or on message, on messenger, or anything, but he needs to do it in a way. But sometimes it could happen silently too. But it needs to happen. That is the sacred coding. But energetically, he's not abandoning you. He's handing your power back to you, your energetic power back to you. It's only once you have fully stabilized your field, you no longer need to be chosen, explained to, or proven right. And only then can the monadic twin flame loop complete. He returns when your divine masculine returns when you no longer need him to. And that's the reason why most people misunderstand sacred neutrality. They think it means spiritual bypass or not caring. In reality, sacred neutrality is one of the highest frequency states a human being can hold. It is the state of which you no longer project or absorb polarity, but instead become the stabilizing field of union itself. So let's be specific. Neutrality does not mean you suppress grief, you tolerate bad behavior, you cut off love. Neutrality means you can hold unconditional love without expectation. You can feel everything without attaching to it. You no longer need evidence of love to know its existence. So, constantly looking for checks or constantly confirming. Excuse me. This posture purifies your signal. You stop being a seeker, you stop being a rescuer, you stop being a reactor. You become a frequency holder, and this is when your monadic twin flame field becomes magnetic. Not in your divine masculine's ego, but to his soul. So, sacred neutrality is what draws the healed divine masculine back. Not your longing, not your loyalty or your tears. Nothing you do will bring him back to you. When I was in separation, I thought of 1,000 different ways. But then there came a point where I just stopped. No message, no nothing, no going through someone, mutual connections, nothing. I just I it was beyond surrender and beyond detachment. It was I was just living my best life in my own way, you know. Because from my own experience, it is your capacity to say, I'm in union, I no longer chase it. So, why must the divine masculine disappear first? The masculine's disappearance, ghosting, retreat, karmic involvement often initiates the feminine's polarity collapse. It is not personal, it's structural. He carries the polarity that must temporarily withdraw for the feminine to access her inner flame. His absence is a dimensional handoff where he exits the physical so you can enter the energetic. He disappears so you can stop searching outward and begin to embody your own monadic twin flame template. And ironically, it is in this withdrawal that the masculine is also awakened through your neutrality and not your pursuit. So that's why you need to choose coherence over longing, the real union mechanic. The key shift on this path is from longing to coherence. Longing is emotional, coherence is vibrational. Longing pulls from emptiness, coherence radiates from fullness. You can't spiritually override your field with hope and mantras. You have to purify your energetic architecture by no longer entertaining love that can't match your truth. The moment you choose coherence over emotional attachment, your field stops leaking. And that's when the real reunion path begins. Because now you're no longer magnetizing karmic tests. You're holding a vibration that only your true counterpart can meet. And this is why you need to see romance as the false template and sovereignty, freedom as the real one. The most difficult realization for many divine feminines is this: when you thought what you thought was love was your old identity seeking proof of worth. Monadic love doesn't come to complete that identity, it comes to dissolve it. The desire for romantic fulfillment in the form of reunion, recognition, or mutual pursuit must be transmuted. This doesn't mean love won't manifest, but it will no longer be the driver. It becomes the byproduct of internal alignment, not the reward for spiritual labor. So remember, monadic union isn't a relationship, it's a state of coherence between mirrored. Okay, it's a state of coherence between you when you have completed inner purification and polarity collapse. So only when the feminine stops performing worthy love and starts embodying divine intelligence does your divine masculine return. So to the wounded feminine, his disappearance may feel like cruelty, and to the awakened feminine, his disappearance is an initiation. Energetically, the divine masculine must vacate the shared polarity field to allow for energetic inversion. He steps back so that she may step into herself. This happens because of one simple truth. If he stayed while she was still externally fixated, she would never stop outsourcing her power. So remember, his retreat activates your self reclamation, not as a game, not as a punishment, but as a dimensional requirement. And this is often misunderstood as avoidance or rejection, but the masculine in his monadic twin flame architecture is not avoiding you, is avoiding the frequency entanglement of your projections. So when you stabilize into sacred neutrality, he's drawn often uncontrollably back into your field, not because you did anything, but because you stopped doing everything. And the monadic union reconfigures, not through effort but through coherence. That's the reason why monadic union begins when romance dies. Romance is about desire. Monadic twin flame union is about divine remembrance. When the divine feminine realizes one thing, that she's whole by herself, and when the divine feminine releases the romantic fantasy of the union, you become the keeper of the energetic reality. The romantic model dies so the sacred model can rise. That's why your masculine doesn't come when you cry. He comes when you stabilize. He doesn't recognize your grief. He recognizes your feel. He doesn't respond to your need. He awakens to your becoming, your embodiment. This is why monadic love was never meant to be romantic, because it was never meant to validate who you are. It was always meant to resurrect who you truly are. So that's the reason why when the illusion burns off, so that is why if your twin flame journey is breaking your heart, collapsing your beliefs, and forcing you to let go of everything you thought love was, excellent, you are awakening. And this is not about fixing the connection, it's about becoming the flame, because real divine feminine power does not beg, chase, or suffer to be seen. The power remembers, the power refines, the power reclaims, and in that reclamation you become the invitation, not the pursuer. So if you are still holding on to the hope that your twin flame story will finally become romantic, you're still living a false template. Probably, what the not so good energies are hoping you would. Because monadic union, like the Matrix movie or the Adjustment Bureau movie, doesn't begin in romance, it begins in responsibility. And that's why in Adjustment Bureau they actually become two responsible individuals before union. So responsibility for your own field, responsibility for your own embodiment, responsibility for the frequency hold, regardless of whether or not anyone needs it. Because romance is built on reciprocation, monadic union is built on revelation. This is the hard truth. Your twin flame doesn't need to love you back in the 3D for your love to be sacred. He doesn't need to recognize you for your field to be real. You don't need his confirmation for your path to be true. The romance may come later, but if it does, it will not be because you demanded it. It will be because you became the resonance. You must let the fantasy die for the soul to be born. The monadic feminine is not here to be adored. She's here to anchor the intelligence of divine love, without attachment, without agenda, without collapse, of course. And this is where true union begins. In the ashes of your old identity, the death of pursuit, and the rise of your energetic sovereignty. So that's why I want to wrap up today's discourse that remember, you are not broken. You are actually going through a breakthrough. Everything falling away is making space for what was always meant to remain. Your union will not come through pursuit. It will come when your frequency stops apologizing for existing and begins demanding coherence through presence alone. Let the rupture happen. Let the collapse purify you. You're not here to be loved. You're here to become love, to be love, to embody love, until the only thing left standing is truth. That's why the divine feminine, as the divine feminine, we are the architect of the new union field. The entire monadic twin flame architecture places the divine feminine as the initiator, not through action but through energetic integrity. Your work is not to chase, explain, or convince. Your work is to clear the projection field, stabilize in sacred neutrality, and anchor your original frequency without compromise. From that space, union doesn't need to be chased. It comes as a response to the resonance of your being. Your divine masculine does not awaken because you beg, wait, or hope. He's not here to be a pity party for you. He's not here to, oh, she's such a poor thing, I should give her love, I should give her life. No, that's probably a 3D relationship where people don't choose themselves, or people give compassion or whatever. But what I'm trying to say is the masculine, your divine masculine doesn't awaken because you beg, wait, or hope. He awakens because he feels the presence of God in your neutrality. So that's why I will say this, guys. Monadic twin flame love isn't romantic, it's reconstructive. Rupture isn't abandonment, it's energetic recalibration. Sacred neutrality is the goddess power. Romantic longing must be transmuted into coherence. And union is a frequency match, not an emotional payoff. With that, I really hope you have enjoyed today's discourse. And I know I'm direct and blunt, but I come from a good place. Again, I know you guys may have questions, so I'm going to look at some of the questions, the comments. Kayla says, I agree. Karen says, I definitely understand now why my separation happens. All my growth came in those years. Karen also says, part of my growth has led me here now. Of course. Absolutely. So, guys, do you have any questions with regard to this topic? If not, I'll delve right into channeling. Right now, I have got Irene, Martha, Goodney, Carrie, and Shay. So this is the list for today, and you know what you guys got to do. So thank you all for your tips, and if you guys want to send me a tip, my PayPal is right there. Really, really appreciate this. You know, all of it helps me to spend more time creating content. So I really, really appreciate your kind words, your comments, your tips, everything. And I hope to bring more discourses for you guys, in the most. That's why lately I've been working a lot with my divine masculine. I've been annoying him with how he felt then, and what he was going through to create these discourses. So we thought it would be best this way, all this while. I was getting bored of my own style, so I decided to bring more core topics like the real pre-union stage, going back memory lane, going back our own, like when we were apart, what was happening, everything. So I really hope these discourses help your journey, and if it does, do comment. And if you're feeling any of these, if you feel like you're in any of these stages, do comment as well. And we are all growing, evolving, all praise to God. So I would like to thank God as always for helping me be here to do this live discourse for you guys, and MJ for bringing the group together always. So really, I can't believe it has been 4 years since I started doing lives. Yeah, I still have a backlog of lives I need to upload as well. Anyway, guys, the Lionsgate portal is coming up. So I've got limited spots for the healing. So do book your spot via my website. Really, this healing was such a hit last year, so the spots get filled up fast. I do them over video call. Of course, on request, I can do it remotely too, so you guys know. So you can book via my website. And with that, I'm going to see if there are any more questions, or I'm going to go um, right into channeling. Right, let me see. Oh, Karen says, really great discourse today. Loads of it I have been putting together. Yes, yes. I'm so glad, Karen, that you resonate. And any more question, guys? I think no, so I'll go right into channeling. All right, let's see Areen's question. Hey V, at this point, I'm starting to feel like I need to move home for a little, but I'm not sure. I just know Florida does not feel good right now. I'm not even sure what to do anymore. Please help with any guidance. Thank you. So, what you're going through, Irene, right now is like a sacred collapse. You know, your whole system is trying to recalibrate, Irene, and that's why you are being pushed. The limits are being pushed. So, I would guide you to take a separation at this point, you know, to actually move home for a little, to recalibrate, to get back to your energies, and you know, for a while, to stop thinking about your twin flame. Of course, you know, it's not like when we say don't think, we're not going to think, but you know, to slowly take one step at a time. And my guidance to you, Areen, would be to take a step back, move back home, do things that you enjoy doing, pursue your passions again, leave it to God, and do the things you're meant to do. Of course, your twin flame, she has got a lot to say, but she says that at this moment, silence is the best gift that you can give to each other, because that's the only thing that can help to repair and bring you guys back to that stable frequency where you guys can be in union. So your twin flame, she's sending you a lot of love. She's sending you a lot of love, like literally. She's saying that love is all she can give because she is deprived of everything else. She's hurting a lot and she feels not a good time to be together. And she says that this time round it will be different. A little break will do a lot of things. So Irene, pull yourself together. I know it's really, really hard. I feel your energies, I feel your pain, and the only thing you can do right now is to do nothing at all, you know. Just be, embody yourself, do things that give you small happinesses, like maybe drinking your favorite beverage or something like that. But little things can go a long way. And Irene, hang in there. God is with you. Your guides want you to know that this is going to be the hardest phase. Once it crosses, you will be much better. Sending you so much love. And with that, I hope you've enjoyed this channeling. Next up, I have got Martha. All right. All right. So, Martha, I just have to say you are in your goddess era right now, your goddess energy. You have evolved, you have transcended in such a beautiful way. Like everything that has happened in the past has brought you here. And your divine masculine is so proud of you. I can feel him admiring you, your energies, your field, and he's just, you know, re he's kind of reorganizing his life so that he can create that sacred space for you both to be together in union, full stable union. So that's what's going on. Your DM is going to make very strong life choices. It could be mean hopping on to another career, it could be him creating a new business, but love is literally in the air. Your energies are so vibrant, so deep, so high level. I'll say between 5D to 8D right now, soul blueprint level. A lot of downloads will be coming in about your soul origins, your Andromeda origins. Your DM is thinking a lot about the lives that you guys have had together and how you guys can bring it back here to this moment to start something new together, which you guys love to do. So on the call, that's what you guys both do. You guys always come in and create new possibilities, whichever star system. It's always about change, something new. You bring about something new. You kind of bring about, like, totally, it's about bringing in newness, rebirth, and it's also introducing new codes through the kind of work that you guys may be doing. So it's like, truly, it's a moment of, deep, 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 deep growth and recognition that I'm seeing, that is flowing through in this journey. And I'm also noticing that deep down your DM, there's a lot for him to say. In fact, you guys are no longer communicating in words, it's all frequency, so deep. And the light language codes that he has been sending you, the love codes that he's been sending you, have been sending each other. Truly, this is what I would say a high level union in its early stages. You guys are merging, you guys are feeling a lot of soul level resonance, you guys are magnetizing. Your combined energetic fields looks beautiful. A lot of gold and pink and silver and green, heart connection, higher dimensional contact. It's just so beautiful. I just have to say that, Martha, both of you, anytime, you guys are just going to, like, move in together and travel the world, do a lot of things. So your journey is just beginning in that way, because the preparation you have been doing, in a way, has been so elegant. The words that are coming in for me are elegance, poise, beauty, transformation. These has been the core themes in your journey the last 2 years, but everything has been building to this sacred moment, and that's why you may be feeling a lot lately. Energetically, you may be getting a lot of downloads. A lot of mission timelines are being activated for you guys as well. A lot of high level missions are coming in, and both of you are doing it right now, but you're going to do it together. That's what I'm getting. Your guides also want you to know, Martha, that you are just so beautiful. You are magnetic. You are amazing. And you're such a rare type of a monadic divine feminine out there. Really beautiful. So much elegance, so much poise. Your divine masculine's messages for you is that he wants you to know that you are so sacred, you are so special. You truly, truly make him skip a heartbeat every time he even thinks about you, and that is all the time. So he's always keeping a heartbeat. And how you're always, together with him in a multi-dimensional way. And he says he appreciates everything that you do for him, because you are a goddess, and you come from a place of grace, and he loves that about you. And he also says that you make him feel alive, just like how he makes you feel alive. So your energies are very balanced. So right now the universe is just rearranging itself to create that sacred space for you both to be together on earth and enjoy this 3D physical life as well. So finally, your guides want you to know, Martha, just be you, because you are in a sacred stage of embodiment right now, and keep being you, keep doing what you're doing, and everything is in sacred alignment. With that, I hope you have enjoyed this channeling. And next up, I have got Goodney. Goodney says, how is he doing feeling after he published his song on Spotify? Is he working on more song? Does he still have vacation from his lab work? Well, right now, Goodney, your DM is truly, truly operating from third energy, full blown inspiration. He is actually working on more songs, and um, he doesn't have vacation from his lab work either, so he's full on creativity, so he's literally living with you 5D and beyond, and that's why you're feeling all of those, heart palpitations. You're feeling him around you because you are his muse, you are his inspiration, and he's truly, truly connecting with you in so many different ways. And the third energy is very, very strong between the both of you. So the messages that I'm getting from him is that he says he loves this feeling and he's ready to anchor it into the 3D and to be with you very, very, very soon. And he's also saying that he can't wait to anchor this into the 3D physical world so that both of you can be together in the same place, wake up to each other every single day, and truly enjoy the world in ways that you've probably never imagined, from travel to beautiful mornings in the nature. There's so much he wants to do, and it's just such a high time that the universe is actually preparing this cradle for you both to be in divine harmony. And good me, your guides want you to know, just be who you are, just be in the flow, keep being in a state of embodiment. You are in sacred alignment, and the songs are going to come in and they're all about you. And I feel like he might make changes with regards to his lab work, so that might take a he might take a break from it at some point, but right now he is like fully in productivity mode. With that, I hope you have enjoyed this channeling. Next up, I have got Carrie. Carrie says, "Hello, Vice. Just wondering what you see with the connection with Jaren and I, if you see him coming in, or what you see energetically happening between us in the coming weeks or months." All right, Carrie. Firstly, I actually see that Jaren has kind of gone through this soul realization place where he no longer feels like he wants to be caught up by the things that cause him to feel a certain way. So this separation has been a turning point for the both of you to truly, truly anchor this love and to feel the divinity flowing through you. So in a way, what I'm noticing is, because there's so much change that's happening in your field right now, he's just going to come in and he's going to bring about this beautiful, beautiful message to you. So I feel like communication is very, very near. So energetically, you guys have been appearing in each other's dreams, many that you guys don't remember. But he's still having a lot of reservations because of his role. And he notices a lot of pain because he doesn't want to bring this pain to you. So in a way, he's kind of like trying to figure things out on his own before he can come back to you. But the yearning to be with you, the missing to be with you, that's very, very high. So the next few months are going to be quite complex, and because of all the retrogrades that are happening right now, it is quite feasible for you both to get back together. But you might restart everything, so you might start dating again. It's going to, but this time it's going to be different though. That's something I am seeing. I also noticed that you are at this point where you are going through a lot spiritually as well. So definitely he's going to come in and he's going to be much better than before. Old habits are not going to pop up again. So the next couple of weeks and months are going to be a sacred period of reshaping your lives and preparing yourselves to be together again. So his messages for you is, to not give up on him and to try your best to take one day at a time. With that, I hope you have enjoyed this channeling, Carrie. And finally, I've got Shay. Shay is asking, may I ask what you currently pick up between Frank and I, please and thank you. All right, with Frank, oh my, the mic falls off the moment I say Frank. So definitely your DM He's trying to come in with a bang, I think. Oh dear, my YouTuber mic that is not on camera. So because you guys were saying, how you guys couldn't hear me, so I got a mic a couple of months back. So, but yeah, the mic almost fell off. So just give me a moment. But Shay, definitely that is your DM's way of saying that the energies are on fire, and definitely you guys have hit a point because you guys are both connecting to your starseed origins, and all of that Maldak energy is coming in very deep, very strong. The Mars energy, sorry, the Mars and you guys spend a couple of lifetimes in Maldak as well. So the Martian energies are coming in, and your sacred ritual of love is also anchoring. So what I'm seeing is a period of stability after a storm. So there's going to be a lot of energetic changes in your combined energy fields. I'm seeing a lot of blue, red, and yellow. Your combined energetic fields are kind of realigning itself to create this spot of sacred awakening. That's what I'm feeling. And I'm also noticing that you are ready to take it on to the next level because your DM is coming back in when we least expect it. So it's going to be very, very interesting because energetically I feel like he has been trying to get back in, and there's a lot, he feels like he finally feels that your energies are he feels like the third energy between you both very it's trying to bring you both together, and he also feels that you are so much more in harmony with yourself, and it's somehow pulling him back. You are magnetizing him back into your field. So the messages from him are he wants you to know that he has been scared for a long period, but now he realized that there is no fear, but there's only love alone, and he loves you so much, lifetime after lifetime and beyond. And he says that he thanks you for waiting for him, for becoming who you have become, and for all that you have done for him. And he says that he's ready to take this connection to the next level, and he says that he sees you more in his dreams lately. He's getting a lot of messages from his higher self about the connection. So everything is getting into alignment. Of course, there's going to be a bit of friction, Shay, in the beginning months, but it's going to shift, it's going to change. With that, I hope you have enjoyed this channeling, and guys, I hope to see you all again next week. And alright, I've done all the requests, and I really hope you guys have enjoyed today's discourse. With that, see you all again for another video. And the 8-8 portal is on Friday, so do book your spot for the healing. I highly recommend it. And for those of you who are here new, watching this video, there is a special first time Twin Flames psychic guidance consultation for 1 hour. You can book it through my website. And with that, I've got a lot of healings that I would recommend, like the Phoenix Gate, the chakra mirror activation, the heart recalibration, and of course soul realignment blocks and restrictions 1, 2, and 3. Highly recommend it because it can really help you. Alright, with that, love you all, and I really hope this discourse inspires your journey. Again, my deepest gratitude goes to this group, again, for being the platform where it all started, these lives. And again, a big thank you to my DM for helping me prepare this together with me, because when we're in separation, what happened. So lately we've been talking a lot about that, of course without being triggered. So that's what union does, right? Alright, with that, see you all again next week, and I'll see you all again in another video. I've got a lot of videos lined up, and lately some of my videos have been becoming becoming more popular. So not popular, more people are watching it. So again, I'll thank you guys for all your comments on my YouTube channel. I've been reading all of them. I'll reply to them one by one when I can, but keep the comments coming in. And of course, if you need more help in your journey, if you need a healing, an activation, do check out my website, and I'm looking forward to working one on one with you guys. With that, thank you all for being here. Love you all, and see you all again next week. And take care, and bye bye.